All right, this is a quick mini lesson on political realignment. For those of you that were in class, this should look very familiar. Those of you that weren't, this is for you. All right, so political realignment is when political parties have changed what they mean, i.e., there were points at which Democrats meant one thing and now they mean another thing. So when we first start, we have like basically two major parties, the Federalists and the Anti-Federalists. Remember, states' rights is really where they come in. So the Anti-Federalists are all about a weak state government and a strong, and the Federalists are the opposite. They want a strong federal government. So basically, you see this sort of shift, like as time goes on, where each of them sort of like stand for one or the other, and they kind of like move over time into which one that they believe. So traditionally, the Democrats are for the states. So if we're thinking Democrats, we're thinking like Andrew Jackson in 1828. We're thinking moving towards the Civil War, very much against this idea that the federal government can tell you what to do, very pro popular sovereignty. Meantime, the Federalists become the Whigs, who are against the Democrats, against Andrew Jackson, then become the Republicans, who are the party of preserving the Union. However, after the Civil War, we start to see a shift. The Republicans start to become more about basically hands off on business, and the Democrats, particularly in the election of 1896, start to become more like the populists. So in 1896, they become the party of starting to take on more of the rights issues that you would have seen when you're talking about like the populist party, so like a labor union sort of things that they would want. So they want a bigger government to take care of workers. By 1932, absolutely the Democrats are the party of the big federal government because this is when you have, FDR, the New Deal, those sorts of things. Republicans are now like having to be in opposition to them because you can't have two parties that want the same thing. The one real place to remember that changes happen is in the southern split of the Democrats. Around the mid 1960s, Southern Democrats begin to be more of the states' rights genre. Mostly all they care about is that there be segregation. And so this is going to be a different sort of thing. And so today we stand with the Democrats being the party that is pro, like usually big government, and then the Republicans, which are anti big government. So party realignment is when they basically switch sides. We did a whole day over this. We talked about it. I know it's a bit confusing, but make sure that you just remember like when this happened and why. Remember that political realignment happens when usually we have a time of great like change. So we're having like Civil War, we're having the populists, we're having the Great Depression. So this isn't something that just sort of happens. Don't confuse political realignment with divided government. Remember, divided government is when like your president's a Democrat, your House and Senate are Republicans, et cetera, et cetera. So don't also mix that with polarization where your two parties are like very far apart from each other. So hopefully this helped. If not, come see me in tutoring.